Today I'm speaking to Einhard and JD. Einhard is Head of Operations and Sustainability, and JD is the Senior Advisor on Agriculture at the Royal Danish Embassy here in Pretoria. Thank you so much for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you, Lize.
So you're both South African. How did you end up at the Danish Embassy?
I'll start off on my side. I was actually started off as an external contractor and project manager and also consultancy for the embassy in 2013, and was thereafter actually confronted by the ambassador at that time and asked if I would be interested in actually working internally for the embassy. So that's where it all started.
Sure. So you're there nearly 9 years already?
That's correct, yes.
And JD?
So I have a background in agriculture. I'm actually a qualified biologist. I'm a plant pathologist, entomologist. And at the time that I applied, the embassy was looking for someone to manage and handle the agriculture portfolio. So I applied and was fortunate enough to get it. So I've been here since 2016, so almost 7 years.
Sure. Okay. So you guys know the embassy and the ethics and the vision they've got. So we met the embassy, we as Mrs. Martins, when they started buying soap from us. What is it that made the embassy look for earth-friendly cleaning products, and why did they specifically choose Mrs. Martins Microbes and More?
I think I'll start off and just give a little bit of the background where it all started, and then maybe JD can go over, because he was the one that actually did the research on the specific cleaning chemicals. So in early 2019, we actually started with an initiative to actually start saving on electricity and water, specifically on the costs, and that immediately led over to actually try to reduce our CO2 emissions. And of course the water conservation from there. So we started with benchmarking on that, and then started installing more energy efficient light bulbs and things like that. From there on, then we actually expanded further, and then started investigating cleaning chemicals as one of them, less harmful cleaning chemicals. And then a few more things followed from there. So, and then JD, maybe you can comment on how we actually got to Mrs. Martins.
Yeah, so basically Einhard gave me the credit for doing all the research, but there was quite a few people involved in actually doing the research. And essentially we just wanted to cut out I think there's 5 really bad chemicals that are sort of in most cleaning chemicals. I think it's 5, I might be mistaken. But basically, we were looking for something that has natural ingredients, such as your products, which has natural microbes, and which eliminates at least 3 out of the 5 of these harmful chemicals. And that's how we stumbled upon Mrs. Martins.
Okay, wonderful. And of course, it's a bonus that we are in the same city. Speaking about CO2 emissions, hey, that does help.
It helps.
So the embassy recently won the Danish Missions Sustainability Award for 2021, am I right?
That's correct, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's quite a feather in your cap. So I want to know, if you don't mind telling us how the Danish mission measures sustainability, because in my mind, it's quite a broad thing. Like you mentioned, there's cost that you want to keep down, there's electricity, there's water, there are ingredients you don't want to have, and the whole life cycle of the product. How does the Danish mission measure sustainability? And please tell us the measures or initiatives that you have at the embassy that actually made you win.
I'll start off on that one. So yeah, later in 2019, the foreign ministry actually started with an initiative on greening. And yeah, we were actually a little bit ahead at that time already, with all the things that we've implemented this far. So yeah, and on the measurement side of that is the entire ministry actually measures CO2 emissions. That's both from vehicles, fuel, also water, and then lastly the electricity side of it. And we've had some solar panels installed, or a solar system installed at the embassy itself that, of course, helped us and pushed us ahead with this initiative. So yeah, and then the other way that they also measure it is all the different initiatives and who has put these initiatives in place. So there's no real system on this. I think they're running, if you do have an initiative, then we actually publish that. And that then forms part of the list, and then they have a look at which other embassies actually put that in place.
Okay.
So yeah, and we of course had the most in place already, so, and still growing.
And I saw somewhere on your social media a list of goals to get in place in the next year.
That's correct. Yes. So yeah, we I think on more on the sustainable things, we've got a lot of that in place, and we started all of that at the embassy, and that's now been expanded over to the residential properties as well. So we've had now recently a solar system installed at the ambassador's residence, and we now actually had expanded on that as well in order to further reduce the electric consumption from the grid. So yeah, and some of the other things is on well-being that we're actually focusing on now as well. Okay. Sustainable living, and that's also the light that we are starting to measure now inside the embassy to make sure that that's according and compliant, at least. Sorry. And also air quality is one of the more bigger things that we now are focusing on. And yeah, that yields some interesting results, to be honest. So we've now learned in one of our smaller boardrooms that the CO2 emissions after an hour with 6 people inside there actually goes up to about 1,500 particles. Wow. Still safe, but it is something that we need to start looking into, especially after meetings go over an hour. Yeah. So when the door is permanently closed. So yeah, but we continue to investigate what else we can do. So yeah, it's a fun project.
I know air quality also links in closely with our field. Many cleaning products have high volatile organic compounds, which means it's quickly in the air. It's very volatile, and then you inhale it. And that's one of the things that we choose not to use. That, when you spray any of our products, it's not so volatile, so it doesn't impact on the air quality that much. So it's interesting how the areas intersect. JD, sometime last year, you had a question for Dr. Raj, our bioengineer, about hydroponics, if I remember correctly. What is happening on that front?
So we're actually quite excited about that. We recently installed our first hydroponic wall at the embassy. So we have a vegetable garden outside, standard conventional vegetable garden, but then I think it was about 3 weeks ago we installed the first hydroponic wall, which is still in an experimental phase. But I think the interesting thing that we're already seeing is we planted some vegetables in the soil, and we planted some vegetables in the hydroponic wall. And comparing these two is, well, there's no comparison really. I mean, we're able to harvest the vegetables from the hydroponic garden already, while the soil planted vegetables are still settling in. So we are really, really excited. It looks nice, it looks clean, it looks modern. So I think if I get enough money from Einhard, we might be looking at extending that project and adding 1 or 2 more hydroponic walls.
Einhard, listen up.
It's very easy, and it takes care of itself. So we're quite happy about that. So
wonderful.
Far.
So of course, apart from quicker harvesting times, saving space possibly, you're also using less water with hydroponics, isn't it?
Correct. So we only refill the tank once a week. It's only a 40-liter tank, and all the nutrients and everything goes into the one tank. So, and to be quite honest, we don't use 40 liters a week. We simply top it up once a week. So it's probably 5 or 6 liters that we use a week instead of watering the conventional garden, which is significantly higher than that.
Yeah, wonderful. And once again, the circular economy kind of idea that you're just circulating the water through and not losing much. That's wonderful.
Yes.
So to my listeners who are mainly moms with smaller households, but responsible moms who want to make a difference and who don't want to send single-use plastic to rubbish, and they don't want dangerous ingredients in their homes, this might sound quite highfalutin in the sense that both of you have fancy titles, degrees, budgets to implement stuff. But if you look at it carefully, the embassy is actually a large household, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And like you say, you have actually started extending to the ambassadors or other households. So if we come down on a micro scale, and what tips, if Einhard, you can give one maybe, and JD can give one, would you give a mom that she can start doing today to be more sustainable in the way that she goes about cleaning her home or living in her home?
I think, I think the first thing is that we need to raise awareness amongst the staff as well, so that they also informed as to what the dangers are and where they can actually also make a difference and get them engaged in that. And then I think from the mom side, procurement is one of the easiest things, and that's what we've actually realized on the embassy level as well, is more sustainable solutions. Procuring locally in order to avoid, of course, the travel and the CO2 emissions from that. So, and recycling, I think, is one of the easier things to immediately implement. Just 2 separate bags. So
yeah. And then, of course, the very basics, Lize, like I mean, it's you don't have to change the you don't have to change the world in one go, but switching off lights, during the day at your house, monitoring how much water you actually use, how much water you waste, using a dishwasher once a day instead of washing every 10 minutes or 15 minutes. These small things all add up in the long run, especially in this country where we're so reliant on fossil fuels for generating electricity. I think these things all contribute, all make it.
Yes, for sure.
Even on at the embassy as well, one of the things that we implemented was reusable water bottles. So it's glass bottles that each staff member now has. And the difference that made is that they now have 1 glass that they use in a day instead of having 3 or 4 glasses that they go and fill up. So that reduced the dishwasher by at least once a day. Yes. So if you take the energy and the water saving on that, that's also quite significant if you add that up.
And it reduces all those jolly single-use plastic water bottles, which are so senseless. Yeah, wonderful. So for me, I'm so thankful that Denmark worries enough or cares enough to, even here in South Africa, look after our environment. And you too, thank you so much for all your effort and time that you put in. And we wish you all the best with your endeavors.
Thank you, Lize.
Thank you very much.